Welcome back to DHN. I'm your host, as always, Wade Teamer. I want every single XLM holder to get a really good understanding of what is called the PayFi ecosystem. I think this PayFi ecosystem will bring a heap ton of adoption to XLM over the coming years, and it's best that we understand it now so we know what's coming. We're not going to waste no time here, guys. Just jump right over and take a look at the PayFi ecosystem map, and I'm going to break it all down to you. So, PayFi is short for payment financing. It leverages the blockchain to address current problems with traditional finance or access to money for collateral. It has 6 layers: transaction, currency, custody, compliance, financing, and application. Now, the transaction layer, this is where it gets fun. This is supported by Stellar and Solana. These are the operating systems. Solana handles microtransactions, whereas Stellar deals with international remittances. The next layer you have is the currency layer. This includes stablecoins and stablecoin issuers like Circle, PayPal, Tether, Agora, and RD Technologies, which takes us to Hong Kong. We'll touch more about that later. And again, stablecoin issuers Bridge, Paxos, Perena, and Portal, which actually specializes in payroll-based applications using stablecoins. And then you have the custody layer, which includes Fireblocks, Ledger, the Phantom Wallet on Solana, Kobo, and Squad's protocol. Next to that, you have compliance, which includes names like Chainalysis and TRM Labs. Chainalysis is a blockchain analysis tool, helps you read block explorers and track wallets, while TRM Labs focuses on financial crimes and protecting you from those crimes. Next to them is Polyflow, which provides the regulatory and compliance tools. So you can start to see how all of these stacked together create one powerful infrastructure. Then we have the financing layer, where Huma Finance sits, and they are the backbone for the PayFi ecosystem. Next to them will be Pith and Chainlink. These are your oracles. And then you have Credora, which is on-chain credit lines. And then SMP, which is the SMP for analysis and risk management. The same SMP that likes to tokenize with companies like Archax, if you're wondering. So now that you have a breakdown of the layers and players, let's get into the applications. This is when the connections become the strongest. When I was putting this piece together, I was blown away. Stellar and Solana meticulously crafted this ecosystem because the connections, once you dig for them, I'm surprised more people don't talk about it. For example, if you go over to the application layer and you look at the FX category, there's a company called Shift Markets. We just talked about them fairly recently. They helped bring the first ever South African Rand-backed stablecoin to the Stellar network in their collaboration with Zark, the Zark coin. You guys remember that one, right? Now, in March of 2025, they partnered with Kobo from the custody layer in the PayFi ecosystem, and now they have a relationship where Kobo custodies Shift Markets assets. Then you have Bitso, longtime player in the space. They handle cross-border payments. They joined Stellar a while back to handle USDC payments in Latin America. Bitso also has ties to top-tier banks in Latin America and is currently one of the few exchanges in the market that supports the official Brazilian real-backed stablecoin, the BRL1. Then we have ARF, ladies and gentlemen, fairly new to the ecosystem under the cross-border payments category. They have strategic working relationships with Circle, Stellar, and Visa. Oh, we gonna get to Visa. As a matter of fact, we gonna get to Visa right now. We already know that situation. Visa, Rain, Red Dot Pay. Rain joined Visa's card issuer partner program. Then they integrated Stellar, Solana, and Tron into their stablecoin debit card platform. So that means that you, as a business owner, can issue a branded debit card that can move USDC. And the rails that it will be moving USD across will be either Stellar, Solana, or Tron, whichever one you choose. And then to double down on that, we know Visa recently announced that one of the 4 primary chains for stablecoin settlement would be Stellar, right? And then we have coins.ph. They've been tied to Stellar for years. Zoom is a payment service that is built by PayPal. They service India and Brazil once again. Then we have a company called Reap. They have ties to Visa, Solana, and Circle as well. USDC just minted another 250 million USDC on Solana, bringing their total to 25 billion USDC. So what this tells us is not only has this been in the cards for years, but now they got the right people in the right markets to really flood the system, with these PayFi services. Now, in addition, there is On Afrique, which is an African corridor on the Stellar network that has been here for years. And you guys know how I feel about Africa. So we know PayPal got the green light to issue PayPal USD on Stellar. So that defines their place there. Paxos is going to be next. We know they're waiting on that approval from the New York Department of Financial Services to bring the rest of their stablecoins, Pax Gold, USDP, things like that, to the Stellar network. And then, of course, Circle has been with Stellar since day one. Now, Mountain, this is a fairly lesser known stablecoin issuer. They're in the yield-bearing stablecoin market, but they were recently bought out by Anchorage Digital. They are waiting on changes in regulation around yield-bearing stablecoins here in the United States before they really make a move. But as we just saw, if Versa Bank can pull it off, so can Anchorage Digital. And then we have Agora. They handle stablecoin transfers and swaps, and they connect Solana to multiple chains so you can move USDC and Tether across them. Simple setup. Then we have RD Technologies, which brings PayFi to Hong Kong utilizing stablecoins. This is when the story gets a little bit more interesting because Hong Kong is changing their tone towards stablecoins and becoming more open. That is another example of how deep this PayFi ecosystem has already spread itself. It is very, very entrenched in the right financial markets. And then you have Bridge, which we know its APIs connect to Solana and Stellar to move USDC or Tether around. They're also a Stripe company now, which puts them right next to Visa. We already know that Stripe is looking to drop its on-chain as well. So this, again, I don't know how else to express how far they've gotten with this thing. That's why I had to really break it down to you guys. Then you have Portal, which connects both Solana and XLM to 100 plus other chains. And they also have that payroll functionality that involves stablecoins. And on their website, they describe it as a form of disbursement, similar to the Stellar disbursement platform. Now, what does this all mean for Stellar holders? That's the biggest question. Well, see, unlike DeFi, PayFi is strictly aimed at the financial tools that we use on a daily basis. PayFi is going to improve a lot of those services, especially in realms like credit and trade finance. That's another big one. I do recall a couple days ago, USDC officially is live on the XDC network. That brings the CCIP, which is their cross-chain interoperability protocol, because Chainlink has the exact same thing, but they call it something else, so I want to make sure I don't get them confused. But that brings over their protocols that also pulls the XDC network into the Circle Payments network, and it'll also make XDC compatible with Circle's new blockchain, which, yes, is called ARC, if I'm not mistaken. So the biggest difference is XLM will be the software layer that supports this particular PayFi ecosystem. Paired with Solana, yes, but we knew this was a multi-chain world, and it works better this way. I was also looking at this PayFi map and visualizing what it would look like with Stripe's blockchain, which I believe is called Tempo, Circle's ARC, as well as Tether's Plasma chain, which a lot of people they're overlooking. And I think it just had a token launch, did like $80 million in the first day. So that is down the road. Of course, those other networks getting involved. But as it stands right now, XLM is the bedrock for the PayFi ecosystem. It's the bedrock. And as an alternative to Ethereum, I'm starting to see XLM being used specifically for financial tooling as a software specifically. And when we look at everything that has come out of Stellar, MoneyGram Access, UNHCR, everything that's going on in Ukraine, Visa, PayPal, Paxos, seems to me that XLM is doing its job. It is really doing its job. And taking in the PayFi ecosystem as a whole, with those names, Visa, Stripe, PayPal, Circle, MasterCard hasn't even joined in yet. That was another one I forgot. MasterCard crypto credentials. So I hope this rundown of the PayFi ecosystem map is valuable to you. As a Stellar holder, you need to be aware of what's around the corner at all times. I'm not hearing a lot of press about this PayFi ecosystem, so that gives us an opportunity to study it before the rest of the crypto space gets a hold to it. That'll always give us the advantage. So with that, guys, that's all I got for this one. If you want more crypto intel, I actually finished the article this time before I posted the episode. So if you want to read deeper into this particular subject, check out the link in the description. It'll take you straight to digitalhustlenetwork.net, where you can stay up to date on all the pertinent crypto intel. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. Y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.